Hi guys. Welcome to your Unit 7 review, 1 and 2-step equations. So for number 1, they give you an equation, right, like a 2-step equation like you've seen in several of your lessons, but then they ask you, like, what are the steps to solve, okay? So there's a few different ways that you can think about it, but really the biggest thing is, remember, first we need to get rid of the addition or the subtraction, right? So we would subtract in order to get rid of this addition, and you have to do it to both sides of the equation, right? That cancels over here on the left, and we're left with 2x equals 12 in this particular case. Next, in order to undo the multiplication, we would do the inverse operation or the opposite operation, which means that I would need to divide both sides by 2. They cancel over here on the left. Our variable is now alone. That's the goal, right? We're trying to figure out what is x equal to. And in this case, 12 divided by 2 would be 6. Okay? So those are the types of things you need to think about when you're going through that problem. Number 2, a school raised $600. This amount is $50 more than 3 times last year's total. Write an equation to determine last year's amount. So in this one, they're just asking you to write an equation based on this word problem. Okay? So we know the total amount that they earned. They earned or raised $600. Okay? That's what they earned. That's their total. This amount is $50 more than. $50 more than. Well, more than means to add. So we're going to be adding 50 to some amount. And in this case, it tells us 3 times last year's total. So we could use T for total, which, I don't know, I don't really like that very much because it looks like an addition sign. But with 3 times, and then I'm just going to say x. 3 times x. Okay? So it would be 3 times last year's total plus another $50, and that gives us $600. All right? And number 3, it's some vocab work. Another word for doing the opposite operation. I've said this a lot lately. This is the inverse operation. The inverse, that's doing the opposite operation from what you see in the problem. And our goal is to get what alone, right? Our unknown is one way to say it, or the variable, right? Variable, that's the technical word. You're trying to get the variable by itself, all right? That way you can solve for the unknown. Okay, on number 4, this one is also kind of like testing that your knowledge of the steps, okay? So I have an equation here, 2y plus 14 equals 6. So in order to solve this equation, you must do what? You must first subtract 14 from both sides, okay, which this one gets a negative. Maybe I didn't set up this problem real well. Sorry about that. But 14 minus 14, those cancel. We're left with 2y. And then 6 minus 14 would give us negative 8. And then I must divide by 2 on both sides. Those cancel on the left, and y would be equal to negative 4 in this case. So just think about it. You got to describe it. What are the steps that we're taking to solve? Number 5. This also helps with number 6. Like 5, 6, and 7 are all very closely related, okay? So any one of those could help with any of the others. Maya has $16. She earns $7 per lawn that she mows. She wants to have $65 in total. Let x represent the number of lawns. Write and solve an equation. So let's see. She has $16, right? And she can earn $7 per lawn, right? So we can add that 16 to $7 per lawn, which I'm just going to use x to represent the lawns. And she wants to have, what was it, $65 in the end. So we need all of this to add up to 65. So So if we solve, I didn't leave myself much room, but we'll take away 16 from both sides. 16 minus 16 is 0. Those cancel. I'm left with 7x is equal to 49. Let me come up here to finish. Right now I'm multiplying by 7. In order to get rid of it, I'm going to divide by 7. So x is equal, not to 49, we just solved that. X is equal to 7, so she would have to mow 7 lawns. Okay, so I didn't write another problem for 6 because this one helps with it, and also the next one is going to help with it too. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Number 7, Carmen's phone bill is $35 each month. She pays 15 cents for each additional text. Now, this is a very kind of old school concept. When I was a kid, we had to, like, if you went over, you only got a certain number of texts. It's not like how it is today where it's all unlimited. You used to be charged for it, and it could be really scary if your mom opened that bill. But anyway, she pays 15 cents for each additional text. Her total bill was $41 last month. How many extra texts did she send? Okay, so altogether her bill was $41. It should have only been $35, but then there was some extra stuff added on there, right? 15 cents per text. So I'm just going to use x again, all right? And then we're going to solve for that. That tells us how many texts she sent. So we're going to subtract 35, subtract 35. 35 minus 35 is 0, so we're left with 15 hundredths times x. And then minus 35, that would equal 6. So we're going to divide both sides by 15 cents. You could do this on a calculator, okay? Let's see, we've got, oops, I shouldn't have typed that in there yet. We have 6 divided by 15 cents. That gives us 40. So x is equal to 40 texts, okay? All right, number 8. We got three more to do. So this one is just a one-step equation. This should feel easy at this point. X plus 4 equals 10. What step needs to be taken to solve? Okay, so remember we have to do the inverse operation. So inverse, right now we have addition in the problem, so we need to do the opposite, which would be subtraction. So we would subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, now in your test, it's going to be a different operation. Okay, if you see multiplication in the problem, that means you need to do division. If you see division in the problem, that means you need to do multiplication, and so on, right? It's always the opposite. 4 minus 4 is 0, so I'm left with x, and then 10 minus 4 is 6. Number 9, a baker sold 141 muffins. This is 3/4 of all the muffins he produced. How many muffins were made in total? So we're looking for the total, 141, it says this is 3/4 of the muffins. So if we take 3/4 and we multiply it by 141, we're going to get the total. Okay? So with that, you could use a calculator. You could think, well, I know that 3/4 is 0.75. Oh, and I messed up. I'm sorry. It should have been, all right, see, even Miss Angel makes mistakes. If it was 3/4 of the total, that's what I should be multiplying by. So I apologize for that. Forget what I just said. 3/4 times the total, and that gives us 141. I messed up. Okay, so we could put in a variable. So 3/4 times, we'll say x for the total. That equals 141. So we are either going to be dividing by 3/4 on both sides, but remember, if you're dividing by a fraction, that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I could multiply both sides by, I'm just messing up all over the place. multiply by 4/3 on both sides, and that's what's going to get us our answer. Okay? These cancel over here, right? Because this would be equal to 12 over 12, which is equal to 1. So those cancel, and we're left with x, or our total. And then we have 141 times 4, and we could put that over 1 to help us solve. So in this case, we have 141 times 4, right? That's right here. And in the long run, it's going to be divided by 3, right? Because 1 times 3 is 3. So 564 divided by 3 gives us 188. So what that means is, what were they? Muffins. There's 188 muffins total. Okay, sorry about that initial mix-up. And then number 10, this is a short answer question, so I want to see what you know, so I'm not going to give you a ton of information, but how can you check your work with solving equations? The best thing to do is plug your answer back in, right? So if you're given a problem, like I'm just going to use the one that we had in number 8, right? We did this, we solved by subtracting 4, so x equals 6. We'll plug 6 back in to the original equation. 6 plus 4 equals 10. Well, 6 plus 4 equals 10, so, and 10 equals 10. So, that's how you can check your work. Plug your answer back into the original problem. Okay, and they give you a problem, and you're going to write your own word problem from the equation that they give you. Okay, so just be aware of that. You have lots of examples for you to use, though, so have fun with it. But otherwise, I hope this helps, and if you need extra support, just let me know.